Tell me when. Is this baby cranked up?
Cranked.
It's cranked? Let's do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Today we've got...
Oh yeah, this is actually a time-sensitive one, so no time for antics.
So no time for jibber-jabber.
No funny stuff. This is an ambitious one. Sean has picked quite a few questions, so we're going to try to roll through these as fast as we can.
And we're super tight on time. We've got exactly an hour, right?
Yeah.
Exactly an hour. Okay. Let's see how we do. All right, it'll be a speed round. The whole thing will be a speed round. So, everybody.
Go ahead.
We just got a little...
Instagram?
Sorry, that just popped up. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog with the lovely Laura Morgan, and this is The Good Dog's Q&A Saturday.
Number 20.
That's 20, right? Number 20. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for last week's awesome responses. And some folks actually cracked the code and got to the bottom of our personal details and found out that Laura Morgan was on, what was the name of the show? The
Judds.
The Judds was...
Love Can Build a Bridge.
Love Can Build a Bridge, if you're careful and use the right tools, right? And that I was playing drums on a song for CeeLo that won a Grammy a couple years back, so that's pretty cool stuff. You must have dug deep for that. I have no idea. That's a hard one to find. So big props. Can't remember who it was that found it, but
we'll shout them out with a card later.
Down the line. All right. Anyways, guys, we're going to bypass the shenanigans that we usually inundate you with and get straight to work.
Unless there's a GSD shout out. Was there one?
I can't disclose that.
Oh. Okay.
Brought to you by Snickers, guys.
Always. Question number 1. This comes from Angela Wallace. I'm going to pare it down.
Hey, Angela.
Hey, Sean and Laura. My 4-year-old collie is making great strides on leash reactivity, having implemented all of your protocols recently. I'm now using the e-collar. She just needs tiny corrections. She used to be reactive on the leash, just being overly excited, to meet the dogs. My question is in regards to her glancing at other dogs when we walk by on leash. I correct immediately for ears up and staring, which has pretty much ceased. But what about the occasional furtive glances with ears back, no intensity, more like nervous glances? Does this dissipate on its own? How strict do I need to be with it? I almost get the feeling I'm making it worse by correcting as she's trying hard to comply. She also switches to the other side when she sees a dog. She puts me in the middle.
The dog does,
Yeah, she puts me in between her and the dog.
Okay.
So am I being too strict with my criteria? She's pushy with dogs. She's soft with humans, has a willing temperament, if that helps to understand the situation.
All right, Angela. I got a few notes that I wrote just for you. Okay, first I said that's a good question, because it is a good question. And without seeing your dog and exactly what you're correcting, it's hard to give you a perfect answer, but here's what I'm going to go with. So if your dog is largely doing really good work and ignoring dogs at a certain distance, which you are sharing that your dog is doing, and that you're getting into a few moments where it sounds like your dog is doing self-correcting, like you're saying nervous looks, which are probably more about self-correcting, right? The dog is trying to sneak a peek and then goes, oh man, I'm really not supposed to do that. So you'll kind of get like that kind of stuff like that. So if you're getting self-correcting glances, typically I'll let those go unless they're really exaggerated. If they're happening consistently a ton and we're getting a lot of head movement, then I might go after it. But an occasional self-correction glance, I'll probably let that go. Excuse me. So it's a good question. It's a little bit of a feel thing because obviously if we let small things go, they can build to bigger stuff. But if your dog is largely doing really good work and the reactivity stuff that you talked about is like really looking a lot better and your dog is just kind of processing, ears still back and just doing one of those, I think I'd probably let that go and see where it takes you. So let's we won't let it go forever, but let it go for a little bit, see where it takes you, and then correct for the big stuff. Obviously, any like exaggerated glances or any worked up stuff, anything that it sounds like are leading to trouble. And let's let the furtive glances go and see, as long as they're coming right back and as long as they're not happening, in an exaggerated fashion. And then the other aspect of this, with her crossing behind you, instead, correct, have her stay with you, right? Have her stay in the heel. She's asking for more space because she's uncomfortable, and I think you kind of gave a great example that she's probably thinking, I will just avoid it because it's hard to be close to the dog, and the closer I get, the harder it is for me to avoid looking at the dog or not getting into trouble. So instead of letting the dog do it, just know that your dog's sensitive to it and actually give her a bubble. You do it, and your dog will have a lot more trust in you. So as you're walking down the street, you're coming towards a dog, you know that this dog is going to cause your dog to have some discomfort. So as you're approaching the dog like this, then go. And it's not anything big, but what it is I want you to kind of feel your dog when your dog starts to get a little bit tense. I want you to actively create this bubble, and your dog will start to trust you more and feel more safe that you're in tune and that you feel the pressure as well, and that you're not just throwing your dog to the wolves and saying, well, we're walking by and you got to deal with the heat. So if your dog sees that you're going to relieve some of that pressure and you still demand it to be in heel, you'll really get some better stuff teamwork wise, and I think comfort wise and trust wise with your dog. So that's what I'm going with that, and we're out of this question.
Out of it.
Thanks, Angela.
Thanks. Question 2, this is from Terry Chrisman. Hello, Sean and Laura. Thanks for answering our questions. It's extremely helpful. My question is, what do you do with a dog that simply doesn't trust humans? They're fearful, nervous, and anxious when around people. They don't want to be strangers to come close to them. They lunge and bark and put them on full notice that getting closer is not a good idea. So far, they haven't bitten anyone, but I'm sure it could happen if the person didn't back off. For a trainer to get close enough to put a muzzle, prong, or e-collar is out of the question. They'd be bitten. A slip is basically all you get on them safely. They're great with people they know, but seem to think all strangers are out to harm them. I believe they would look at it as a matter of life or death. What would Sean do?
What would Sean do? Don't let Jeff hear that.
Uh-oh.
Like, hey, you're taking over. Wow, you're taking over. I'll see you in court. Okay, so Terry, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing good. Hope everything's great. Great to have you back. All right, so I wrote a few notes for you, too, because I'm one prepared dude. Let me just run down this stuff really quick for you. So, first thing is, it's hard to say exactly what I do without seeing the dog. Seeing the dog gives me a ton of information about where things are coming from and what I think intuitively would be the best choice in that moment to help a dog be successful. So hard to say without being there, especially when you're talking about some of these nuances, aggression and all this stuff. But that said, I'd only do it in a board and train situation. I don't do these kinds of cases in one-on-ones. So anytime you're dealing with a volatile dog, the first thing you can do to make things less volatile and more safe is get the dog away from the owner and in your own environment and control all the moments and start to chip away at all the stressors that are causing the dog to be more reactive and dangerous like that. So just getting a dog out of the situation with their owner and getting them into your home or your environment or your training facility will change dramatically your safety level with that dog. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule. There's dogs that you can take out of the home and they're still going to be really dicey. But even those dicey ones are going to be better out of their home. Just let's get that straight. So I'd only do it in a board and train, first of all. What else have I got for you? Okay, so from there, the dog would only eat out of my hand as long as that would take to happen. Whenever we get aggressive cases that are human aggressive cases that are growling, lunging, dangerous, unpredictable, I can't get tools around them, then it's a very simple thing that I make sure a long line goes on the dog at drop-off. So when the owners come in to drop the dog off for board and train, if we feel we need a muzzle on, then the owners muzzle the dog right then. We put a long line on once the muzzle's on, or if we're not going to muzzle the dog, then we're going to put the long line, have the owner put the long line on, because I don't want to have to wrangle this dog and slip lead this dog every time that it goes in and out of the crate. I attach the long line to his flat buckle so there's no choking issues. We'd also ask dogs or ask owners who've got aggression issues like this to pre-muzzle condition the dog so we don't have to do that work and waste board and train time. So have the dog come into your board and train already muzzle condition would be a huge help to getting you further down the path much more quickly. So you see we're putting all these pieces together, right? So we're chipping away at the things that make it more dangerous. Get the dog away from the owner, get the dog in your own home, get muzzle on the dog for the initial early interactions that can be dangerous and volatile, get a long line on the dog to make sure you don't have to do any intimate wrangling of the dog dog to get him in and out of the crate. I'll leave that long line on for days until I feel safe. I attach the long line outside of the crate with a carabiner, so I never have to dive in or dump the crate. I can just pull the dog right out. And then the dog only eats from my hand. And if the dog doesn't want to eat, the dog doesn't eat. And every dog comes to a point where they're like, man, I don't like the cut of your jib, but boy, I'm hungrier than my concern is for your appearance or what you represent. And their hunger will override that fear, anxiety, aggression, whatever it's stemming from, and they will actually make that attempt to come to you to actually take food. And once that starts happening, things change dramatically in the dog's mind. Psychologically, everything starts to shift when the dog, not you, but the dog makes the effort to come to you and start to interact with you and ask for a resource from you in an intimate fashion. A lot of trust builds, a lot of things change. The dynamic pretty dramatically shifts from there. And then from there, I just go on a pure feel thing about when I feel safe enough to start putting tools around the dog's neck, e-collar, prong collar. If I don't feel safe with it, then I just muzzle the dog every time. And if the dog isn't muzzle conditioned, or if the dog is muzzle conditioned but is being dodgy with the muzzle, then the only way the dog eats is out of the muzzle. We've had a few of those come through where really dangerous dogs, volatile dogs, and muzzle was the only way you eat. And so after a few days, that dog says, man, that muzzle's the best thing in the world. Mm-hmm. And then I can safely get the muzzle on, do that, and it becomes part of our daily routine. Put on the tools, e-collar, prong, train away, do your thing, and then slowly trust builds, dog gets better, and then you counter condition and desensitize, as you move down the road. But depending on what the issues are. But that's kind of the initial protocols delivered at the speed of light. So hopefully that makes sense and you can decipher all that stuff. Thanks, Terry.
Georgia, you smile. Oh, we don't have time to hear
we don't have time.
Oh, okay. For all right. Question number 3. Georgia Aberte. Hi, Sean and Laura. I have a reactive Briard who's fearful of strangers and other dogs. She's fine with people that she knows. We've done a lot of obedience training, and I have a small amount of success with LAT work while using a
LAT
prong collar. I was hoping that I would just say it and you'd be like, oh, yes.
I know of like VAT, which is, bat, but...
Yeah, but this is lat, okay?
Lounging at the track or something?
All right, we'll look it up. If she goes over a threshold when we're on our walk, it's difficult for me to control her when she pulls. I'd love to try an e-collar with her. Which one would you recommend for my small hand? I'm looking forward to watching your e-collar DVD when it comes out. Woo woo. Thanks for helping everyone with their dogs. I totally agree with your method.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would say typically I recommend e-collar Technologies Mini Educator, but if you've got really small hands, some people can struggle with the round remote, especially some females with smaller hands. So I would actually recommend the Dogtra IQ. Dogtra IQ is dainty, right? It almost disappears in your hands. Really easy to use.
But the Educator also has this new Pro that came out. That's actually a slim.
I think, the Pro is really complicated and more expensive, but they have an easy version.
Oh, easy. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You could check that out as well.
Educator
I haven't
easy.
actually gotten my hands on it, so I can't give you any real life feedback on it. I know it's got more bells and whistles than I prefer for clients. I like things really simple for clients, and the IQ is really simple. That's probably what I'd go with. I mean, we used to use all IQs. We had some problems at one point, but I think they've rectified some of those. So I would check out the Dogtra IQ. You can also look at the Mini Educator.
Mini Educator Easy is pretty cool, really, really comfortable. The only thing is that I'm used to a different way the wheel goes if you're used to an IQ, but if it's your brand new e-collar, that's a good way to go.
I'm just saying that I've never heard anybody with small hands struggle with the IQ. It's tiny, and even though it's meant for small dogs and your Briard is big, you shouldn't have any problems with it because we've used them on tons of big dogs, so you should be okay with that. And you can get it off Amazon, right? Yeah. Yep.
Amazon or ecollar.com. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the e-collar. No, Amazon. Yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, did I mess up? She just recently had her hair done.
I got my hair done again,
very
guys.
Careful.
But it's actually like couple days old, so it doesn't quite have the same flow. But it's
the blonde is nice though.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's
Pops.
got a little glow
Has a
behind
little
it. Yeah.
Hey, question 4. Would that be cool if I sang every question?
It'd be great. I'm gonna leave.
Hey, it's Sean and Laura. I just adopted a coonhound. Like musical theater style. Okay,
I love it.
I will stop. She really adopted a coonhound. He was in a shelter for 6 months and then a foster for a month. He was crated while the foster went to work, but the other dogs were free. So when I crate him in my apartment, he howls and howls when I leave. If I leave him with a doggy friend... He howls at first, but then it's okay.
What?
How do you treat... I know.
Is this
How do you
revenge for
treat
last
separation anxiety? Of course you do foundation work and state of mind work. She's like, don't tell me that. She's like, I know what you're going to say.
I know.
But do you do anything specific to address the issue? If it's true separation anxiety from a specific person versus isolation distress, just being alone, how do you overcome that when the owner is present... when an owner is not present in a board and train? Thanks. Hermspringer and e-collar are on the way.
Look at you go.
Yeah.
Ashley Smith. Excellent question, Ashley. Okay, so on top of foundation work, which I know you're going to do, I would be looking to do, I know you got an e-collar on the way, but when we get dogs like this, so we bust their butts really significantly inside the house, and I don't mean bust them in an unfair way, but we're really, really firm on rules and non-negotiability, because that tends to create a lot of leverage state of mind wise in the crate, which tends to create more calm, relaxed dogs. So that's why that's such a big priority. Now on top of that, we use an e-collar to actually interrupt any frenzy, any barking, any howling, anything like that, chewing the crate, all that stuff. Those are just dogs cycling in an anxious state, and so we'll interrupt that with the e-collar. I much prefer an e-collar to do that than a bark collar. You can use a bark collar down the line in your absence, but right now, we lost Laura. But right now, to start off, what I would do is... if you're serious about really nailing this, I'd get like a drop cam or a simple cam or a baby monitor. Or
just Skype your, iPad to your iPhone or something like that.
Yeah, it depends on like how you want to approach it. We use a drop cam, and so then you can hide out, pretend like you leave, or you could actually leave, and have your e-collar once you've got it, and then you can actually start to correct your dog if your dog starts to lift up in frenzy and get uncomfortable, and you can use the e-collar to really break that cycle and cause the dog to relax. And he probably has never learned how to interrupt that cycle inside the crate, so he's probably just stuck cycling like that. So that would be the way that we would do it. And the cool thing about the e-collar is that, unlike a bark collar, our collars are very rarely perfectly sensitive, and they can't fine-tune, adjust the level that you want. But if you're watching on some kind of a pad or some kind of a camera, you can watch and you can correct that moment, and then you can go, oh, that was too hot or that was too low, and you can adjust it right there and really get the response that you want, which is super duper valuable. We've had a few separation anxiety cases in lately, and that was an integral part of getting, along with foundation work, an integral part of getting the dog. There was one who recently went home who tried to bite the crate once, was with Tony in Santa Clarita. Tony corrected once pretty firmly with the e-collar, and that was it. That never transpired again, and she's doing great. So that would be my suggestion. Get some kind of surveillance equipment, get an e-collar on the dog. Prefer, if you can do foundation work with the e-collar, at least like some recall first, and then correct and interrupt that stuff along with foundation work. That's it.
State of mind training.
Yes, and state of mind training. TM'd, by the way.
TM. Okay, question number 5. This is from Artem. You're rocking this out. I love it.
I love it too.
You love it too?
I do love it too.
Okay.
All right, so we got our boy Artem back.
Artem.
You snubbed him last week.
I'm sorry, Artem.
So Artem, I picked the questions this week, so I
Artem,
brought you back.
I'm trying
buddy.
to spread the love a little bit so people don't know you're my favorite.
Oh, that's clever. That's clever.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone's my favorite. All right. Hello, Sean and Laura. The sound and volume in last number 19 Q&A got better. Thanks for that. Hey.
We adjusted it. Sorry, guys.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're trying to fine-tune the process.
My question is, how do you guys usually deal with dogs who are fixed on the owner and feel very uncomfortable with another handler? Like behaviors when the dog gets scared, if someone else tries to grab the leash, trying to escape, lunging, protesting, resisting, jumping, whining, and all that stuff. Not aggression, it's just lack of confidence, unsure behavior. How do you take that dog for a board and train away from the owners? Is there any way to avoid the dramatic show? Thank you guys, you're the best. Oh, Artem.
Thanks, Artem. Dogs act like that when they get dropped off?
Not at the good dog.
Not the good dog. I think that maybe we need to have a talk with Artem. Are you taking my notes? I'm sorry. Like, some kind of a setup here. Okay, Artem. So we do, we always do it at our house. It's a board and train, like you were saying. And the owners come in. We do like a 30-minute consult. We chat for a little bit. Dogs usually being uncomfortable, might be growling, lunging, carrying on. And we just hang out and do our thing. And then when we're ready to leave, we tell the owners what we're going to do. If we need to muzzle the dog, we have the owners muzzle the dog prior to setting up for departure. If it's not that bad, if it's just like what you're saying, just a kind of, neurotic silliness and discomfort or anxiety stuff, then we don't muzzle them. Then what we do is we set up. So, what's you up to?
Sorry, my dog.
Yeah. So just so everybody understands why I'm such a stickler, I have to look, you can't see it, but I have to look right at your face, right where your phone is. That's where the camera lens is, right? So guys, just so everybody understands why I'm such a stickler about the phone is because where she is sitting is right where the camera lens is. So I have to sit and I have to watch. It's very disconcerting and hard for a guy with concentration issues. Anyways.
Who's out there whining?
That's probably Magoo.
Okay.
Magoo's revenge. Anyways, he's like, I'm not in here this time, guys.
By the way, I think Sean wants to keep Magoo.
I'd love to keep Magoo, but I'm at my limit with my 3. So Magoo
is the bomb, guys.
Brittany's thinking about.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He sweet talked her a little bit today too. Anyways, okay, we don't have a lot of time, so let me fire through. Artem, buddy. So if I don't need a muzzle on, the dog's already on leash and prong, something like that. I won't let them have the dog go out if the dog's on a harness or anything like that. I want some kind of security. If they are on a harness, then I'm going to have them put a slip lead or something on the dog, and then I have them walk towards our front door. The front door's open. And I just tell them as they go towards the threshold to just kind of slyly hand me the leash. Don't make any fuss about it. I take it. I don't, I'm kind of standing a little bit away. They hand it to me. They keep moving. The dog is focused on the owner, thinking we're getting the hell out of this joint. And then the owner keeps moving, and then the dog is stuck right there. And so I'll turn this off. And so the dog ends up right there. Owner keeps going. Dog's like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then I just gently bring him in, shut the door, and then we go from there. And sometimes we'll get some histrionics. Sometimes we'll get dogs. I can remember like Troy. Manny, yo, we're trying to shoot here, buddy. I can remember Troy, the German Shepherd, came in, and there was a lot
of... Zeus.
Zeus, a lot of hijinks.
A lot of people know it, too, Artem. You can always, they're going to know, typically, that their dog's going to act that way. So setting them up for it might be like, okay, we're going to do a handoff, because it could be kind of chaotic. Is always good to kind of get expectations where they should be.
Keep it light, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think Laura's hitting on a good point, which is like, okay, guys, this is probably going to be silly. Yeah. So try not to make it a big, heavy thing, and just say, here we're going to do the old sneaky leash trick, and so keep the owners light about it, because they're going to be nervous. They're going to be worried about leaving their dog. They're going to be worried about, are things going to work? Are you going to get bitten? All this stuff. So the more you can keep it in a light space, the better they'll feel and act like that's your millionth handoff that. And then send them out, and I just tell them, just keep walking and don't worry about it.
And if they can put a prong, because typically where you get that problem too is like when the dog's on a harness or a flat buckle and you're trying to drag them. But if they can put a prong on the dog while you're there, if the dog has issues with people, and they can put a prong and you can have a little bit of better control. Or a slip lead or whatever.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They head out, hand me the leash, they keep going, we shut the door, dog goes like, how did I end up here? We go, we got you, buddy. Yep. And then we go to work. All right?
Yep.
We out.
Ow.
Who's next?
Wait.
Oh, now you can ditch
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Question 6 is from Peter. Is that Peter, this one?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Peter-
Peter. I think we've done consult calls with, right?
Cianciarelli.
Yeah.
Cianciarelli.
I think he's in Rhode Island, right? He's worked with Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Jeffrey Gelman.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Sean and Laura. My dog Allie will be in place and then will break to go run and hide underneath the computer table. I don't know what's causing the behavior. It seems to be happening daily. Sometimes I have an idea of what causes it. For example, low battery to smoke alarm. Do I need to tether my dog when she's in place forever? I try to use the remote to call her back to place, but it doesn't work. Even if I dial up slowly, she freezes and I can see her chest neck thumping due to the pressure. She'll scream if I dial too high, of course, so I dial back down, but she still doesn't come back. So what do I do?
Peter, I've talked with Peter on the phone before, and I know he's working with Jeff, and so he's making some really nice progress, but he's still having some challenges at home. In some specific circumstances, context. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, Peter, without seeing exactly what's going on. But I mean, my dog Belle has some pretty intense reactions to smoke detector stuff. So I would say be super mindful of making sure if you're going to change batteries or do anything, or if you know that she's that sensitive, have your dog out of the room, put him in the backyard before you do any of that stuff. I never do any smoke detector battery stuff around Belle because it just freaks her out. So I'll put her out, in the office or something like that, and then do that. So that's one thing. You said there's some other things you're not even sure what's triggering. So it's hard to say exactly what's going on in those other moments. It just sounds like you've got a bit of a nervous, fearful dog. And she's just looking for cover, right? So why is she doing that? She's trying to escape pressure. So in her mind, it feels better to be under the computer table than to be in place. And so it's a challenging dynamic. I would leave the leash on. I would probably continue to tether her for a little while. I wouldn't say you'd have to tether her forever. That's a pretty rare situation to have to do that. But leash on, tethered. Or if you're not going to tether her and leash is on, at least you can fish her out with the leash and help, so you don't have to just use the e-collar if you're having to go too high. And you might want to try augmenting, and we might have even talked about, in our phone conversation, that using the fishing kind of, pressure, which is press, hold, and start to roll up, press, hold, start to roll up and give commands, which creates this kind of pressure like this. But you might want to just try some higher, like quick pops with the repeat command. Some dogs respond better to that, some don't, and so sometimes it's an experimental kind of game. You have to just kind of check some different things out. I really wish I had a brilliant answer for you, but without being at your house and problem solving, it's very hard to give a solid answer. I'd say try and avoid the things that you know are explosive triggers, and just keep working the foundation stuff. I know it's still fairly new that you've been working with Jeff and e-collar stuff, so give it some time, and I think eventually you guys will overcome this stuff. All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks. Question 7. This is from Tara Isaacson. Sean and Laura, the foundation DVDs and videos have been super helpful with my 3-year-old pit mix Scout.
Don't say.
I'm working with prong and e-collar. Yay!
Cool. Awesome.
Seeing huge improvement with walk, duration work, leash reactivity, all that. I had an incident with visiting Aunt today who met Scout earlier in the day, no problem. Tonight when she was petting her, Scout snapped at her. No actual bite or breaking of skin. Aunt may have grabbed collar not knowing that was a bad idea. I strongly verbally corrected and put her on the ground with a firm no and put her in place for a long downstay. It all happened so quickly I didn't see a warning. It happened one time prior to training with a new child who reached to pet her while the other child was petting. Did I do this right? Anything else I should do? Like putting her in the down and stuff?
Yeah.
She's super loving and friendly with people she knows, but we have lots of visitors at our home. And then also, does Sean have Pop-Tart flavor preference? And I don't have any connections to appliance companies. Sorry, Laura. It's all right.
Oh, yes, I do.
Also, any balanced trainer recommendations in Salt Lake? Thanks, Tara.
Man, Tara got a lot of questions.
Yeah, she really did. But some of those were freebies. Your flavor is a quick one.
Yeah, and it primes the pump for more questions because you start talking about Pop-Tarts, I'll answer anything.
Exactly.
You need more stuff?
Exactly.
Let me figure this out. If there's Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, you got blinded.
Strawberry or blueberry?
Frosted.
frosted. I mean,
Not
it kind
even
of goes
pushing.
without saying, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I'd recommend in Salt Lake City probably Ty Brown. So Ty Brown, and he's a balance trainer out there. Ty should be able to help you out and get you some good stuff going on, hands on. And then, so it sounds like you've got, even though your dog does well with a lot of people, you've had 2 incidents where your dog has snapped when feeling, in my mind, pressured and uncomfortable, right? That's typically when the stuff goes on. So, it sounds like when your dog first was hanging out with your auntie, that that for whatever reason the pressure was tolerable, and when your dog was hanging out with the child, the pressure was tolerable until the second child added in, and then things hit a spot where it was no longer tolerable. So you might have a dog that's got a little bit of a sensitivity issue with pressure tolerant stuff. And so, I mean, obviously you can continue to work and do foundation stuff. Is she on an e-collar, Laura?
She has, both e-collar and prong collar.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, I would be doing a lot of e-collar work, a lot of foundation work inside the house, to really get your dog feeling more comfortable, more led, more guided by you rather than on its own. But I'd also advocate for your dog heavily. Knowing those 2 snaps have gone down mean that I would be very cautious about educating anybody that's going to interact with her and when they're allowed to interact with her. So those are 2. It only takes one kid to be right at face level for things to be bad news bears. So so you got to work on the dog. You've got to and I would be holding that dog highly accountable for all the behaviors in the house, like challenging the dog to do even better, higher levels of work. Not just like go to place and stay there, but go to place and mom runs around crazy and knocks on the door and looks at you like you're going to call, and everything that makes it hard for your dog so your dog does their best work and really like proof this stuff to a deep level. And then also manage the people, manage the kids, everybody. I mean, you got a dog who's sensitive, so somebody grabbing a dog's collar, I mean, that's a prime way to get bitten with a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
So that's a knowledge thing. And so if your aunt doesn't know better, then you need to be really clear that we got a sensitive dog, and when pressured too much, it can make bad choices. So that's kind of part of the deal. You can also do stuff where you have, I mean, if there is sensitivity with strangers initially, you can have your dog eat its meals from strangers' hands, which is challenging just to try and make that whole dynamic go down, but it can be a powerful counter conditioning thing. A couple other things, I'd have your dog checked out to make sure there's no medical issues, there's no spinal stuff, there's no, if there's a medical thing going on, Junior, down. Sorry, hang on. I got to wrangle an old guy. If there's any medical stuff going on, then that can obviously create a dog that's happy and likes people, but when touched in a certain way can trigger and get into trouble. So that would be something I'd check out, see if there's any spinal issues or anything like that. And I think that's I think that just about covers it. Mm-hmm. So. Advocate, foundation work, bust the dog's butt, educate people, be really proactive and be really honest with yourself about what your dog has been capable of, even though there's been no damage, but to make sure that you don't allow something to go on that you'll be really upset about. And she asked about correcting it. So for me, if I would have had a prong or I would have had an e-collar, then I would have corrected the dog pretty darn firmly for that.
Yeah, not just like place shouldn't be necessarily a place where the dog goes as like a timeout. It should be more just like a high level correction. Even if, you had the prong on and you had to walk across the, room to get it done, you just say no to mark the behavior and then correct afterward with a, firmer than just putting them in a down or putting them on place.
Yeah, I'd want a really significant consequence, and a lot of people would say, what, you're going to correct a dog who's fearful? Absolutely. Yeah. So if a dog makes the choice to snap at somebody, if they've been checked out physically to make sure that they've got a clean bill of health, they snap at a kid or anybody else or dog, I'm gonna correct them firmly for that and say, I don't care if you're uncomfortable. You're not allowed to make that choice. And then I'll work to make sure that we do our best to relieve pressure and make things nice for you.
Yeah.
But when things aren't nice for you, because the world isn't always going to cater to dogs that are uncomfortable, then you need to have an inhibition to make that choice, not you, but the dog. Yeah. So I wouldn't like say like a verbal no, putting the dog on the ground is not going to have a lot of value in my mind. Like Laura said, even if you have to take a moment to go put the tool on, you should have the tool on though, prong or e-collar, and correct your dog pretty firmly for that and say, like I said, I'm sorry you don't like that interaction, but you can't do that, and then you work on everybody else as well. So put all those pieces together.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Okay. Question 8. Speed round, man. This is happening.
Good. I got here. Validocious.
Okay, this is from Kathleen Ragsdale. Hey, Kathleen.
She's back.
She says, hey, Sean and Laura, how can you work on squirrel issues? In Florida, we have very brave squirrels. Phoebe, my pet, gets so wound up when she sees them. If you clap your hands to scare them, she redirects and tries to bite your hand.
Phoebe.
How can I work on her ignoring them? Love you guys.
Oh, Kathleen, that Phoebe, she keeps you on your toes, doesn't she? Kathleen's done amazing work. You guys probably don't remember or know her story, but Kathleen is in her 60s, I think she said.
I think so.
Yeah, and past posts, I think she said, she's in her 60s and has a young pittie and is just kind of like gone all in for training and has the dog on e-collar and prong and like just busting butts and really proud of you and made major progress. So it's an awesome story. As for the squirrel stuff, there's really no simple answer. We got 2 choices, really. Those 2 choices are, 1, avoid squirrel land. I mean, I wish I had a fancier answer. Avoid squirrel land if your dog is just really struggling and you don't feel like it's something that you guys can really surmount. It's too challenging. Or because we have tons of squirrels that are really audacious, outrageous, entitled little bratty guys at the park. Right down the street, and so we take a lot of dogs that have prey drive, and for us it's we use the e-collar and we use pretty firm corrections to say knock that stuff off. So you're walking with me, your job is to walk with me, it's not to be focused on the squirrels. And if I don't even clap to get the squirrels gone, I correct the dog, and the dog's job is to be present with me, not to be window shopping for squirrel meat. Yeah. So I would nail Phoebe pretty heavy duty at the first sign of escalation for the squirrel, and be really consistent with that. Those are my two options. Those are the 2 things that I would do. You can't really counter condition a dog to a squirrel or anything like that. It's like you just got primal prey drive. You either avoid it or you address it, knock it out, and address it pretty darn firmly. Yep. So, and those levels with squirrels will oftentimes supersede levels with anything else. So it's, like I said, it's primal stuff. It's the deep-seated stuff. So you have to go pretty heavy for the corrections for that.
Deep. Yep.
All right?
Cool.
Take care.
Question 9. This is from Catherine Jane.
Oh, we're boogieing through this.
I know.
How does this happen?
But you have some bonuses in there.
Sometimes I just like...
But you're watching it today.
Yeah, right?
It's Sunday.
Capable. It's like a dog. Unless there's parameters, you don't do your best work. And it's same thing with dogs. So we have to ask them, and we're asking me to do my best work here.
You're doing great. Catherine Jane says, it's Sunday, but I'll still try to sneak in a question. Hello, Sean and Laura. I'm attending Accelerate in May, and I'm super excited about it.
Pause.
Yay.
Accelerate is our brand new awesome program.
Train the Trainers T3 Accelerate program. Train the Trainers with jeffandsean.com.
Yeah, so Train the Trainers is Laura, Jeff, and my seminar business that trains trainers how to build dog training businesses. But Accelerate is a program that's just geared towards stop him please. Just towards the business side of things. So business marketing, sales, pricing, programs, personal development, getting your best clients. They're just starting businesses,
or if they have a thriving business already, it's the place to go.
It's exciting. We've been trying to put it together for a while, and we're so excited that we've got it, and it's launching in New Orleans at my loft down there. So it's going to be a small, intimate group. We still have a few spaces left. Small, intimate group who are going to be hanging with us for 2 days at the loft, working on creating everybody's brands and businesses to where everybody really does super awesome stuff. So
it's going to be so fun.
Had to just jump in there and say
and it's
that.
at a special price. This is the first time, only time for $500. So if you can make it, it could be kind of fun.
Yep, can be a good time.
Okay, so she says, currently I'm a middle school science teacher, soon to be a full-time trainer, and no, I cannot provide you with a dishwasher or legal counseling.
What? I say
we
strike this question.
But I could help you with biology, chemistry, or physics questions you might have. Ah, that's always cool.
Okay, never know.
So, I have a question about your filming. Do you use your computer, a Mac, an iPhone? Do you use special filming equipment with any audio add-on equipment to help pick up sound? Do you edit your film in iMovie, or is there another program you suggest? Thank you.
Well.
Well, funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask. Laura Morgan, I'm going to let you, our resident techie, jump in. I don't have any notes for this because you're my notes.
Well, all right. So what I would say, honestly, Catherine, is there's a million ways to go. But if you aren't technically savvy, I would start with an iPhone and iMovie. It's so simple. You've got your iPhone, right? You've got your camera application, which comes standard with the iPhone. You can flip it, do selfie style, which is what we do here when we're just doing quick Q&A Saturdays. We do it straight on the iPad or straight on Sean's iPhone. So basically you flip the camera so it faces you. You do all your videos. You can get a little tripod for your iPhone, and then you plug in your iPhone to your computer, and then upload the footage to your computer and use iMovie to really easily edit it. And if you don't have a computer, you can just get the iMovie app on the iPhone. It's much more limited than if you have it on the computer. Comes standard with the Mac. I'm sure you know this, but there's always that option. There's a million ways to go. I tend to use Final Cut Pro. I also have a DSLR camera that I can film with, or we do, with a GoPro.
She has a background, so just to be clear, guys, so she's got a background in post editing, so we're a little bit lucky that she knows some of the stuff, but we don't use a lot of her fancy stuff.
Nope.
We don't use Final Cut Pro for any of this stuff. This is all done on iMovie.
We just make it really simple, because if our workflow was more complicated, we'd probably do less stuff just for time's sake. So with this, we make it really, really simple. We're going to up the game soon, but right now we're just using an iPad or an iPhone, plug it into the computer, download it, create a little movie, then upload that straight to YouTube.
Yeah, so there's and to answer your question specifically, we have used some special mics in the past. Mm-hmm. There's our New Orleans. We have a couple where we used fancy mics for that. We had some problems uploading, and there was a period
we just need to split the audio, do some stuff, so...
It was a little bit more headachy, and we'll get into more fancy audio down the line. But right now, like Laura said, this is so low key. Mm-hmm. We take our iPad, we set it up. It's got a little leather case that holds it open. We make sure we put it on a book to where it frames us nice.
Yep.
And we talk loud enough to make sure that it's audible. And then you can also adjust volume levels, as we've done recently, because they were a little bit quiet.
This is our setup. Can you see that? It's just a book, an iPad, and a dog behind it. Ta-da!
Yeah. So, can't remember where I was at.
Yeah. Just that it's very simple. We make it really simple on purpose. We could obviously go more complicated, but if I were you, if you have an iPhone and a Mac, do that.
Yeah, and this works really nice for people. We can get this cut and out. Laura can usually cut it in what?
30 minutes or something.
30 minutes. I mean, she's a little bit savvier than I am. But so, anyways, start simple.
Yeah.
Don't start simple and just focus on good quality content. And then as the content and the desire to view your stuff grows, then you can add more bells and whistles to it. But you don't have to come out of the gate swinging with majorly high-tech stuff. Mm-hmm. What you really need is something that, all of our original videos that we shot for the Good Dog back in the day, just our training and client videos were done on $100 and something flip cam with no audio extra, just all built in, and those worked really well. Now we've moved up a little bit, but so worry less about the gear and just make sure you're doing awesome stuff.
And if you don't know how to use iMovie and stuff like that, they have there's online classes for that. Even Apple Store offers free classes for things like that. So if you just want to get basics, I know there's even free ebooks on Amazon about that stuff. So really, really a lot of stuff out there for that.
Cool.
Cool? Okay.
Good luck.
Can't wait to see you in May.
Yeah.
This is question 10, and then we have some speed rounds bonus. This is from Patrick Tursky. Patrick says, "Hey, Sean and Laura, I just started listening to you guys." Uh-oh.
Patrick.
Pressure's on,
what's going
Patrick.
on, buddy?
Okay. My 11-month-old GSD.
GSD shout out!
What? Wait, but it's not a GSD update. It's just a GSD shout out?
I'm not sure. We can make it whatever we
Okay.
want. Whatever
It's a GSD
makes you
shout-out.
excited, happy, and fulfilled.
I just want a picture. Okay. Oh, I lost it. Okay. My 11-month-old GSD, it's still young, follows all
And
the
loyal.
protocols, so loyal, that you recommend and has a good foundation of obedience. He's
Awesome.
fully off-leash trained, does great. People don't believe me, but I was told by a positive-only trainer to have him euthanized for his bad behavior and mouthing. Mouthing.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's sad stuff.
That's the saddest thing I've heard all day. Mouthing. Anyway, we're working on duration down stays in place. He does great by not breaking the commands, but whines a lot and seems to not be in a calm state of mind. I'm actually really angry right now.
Yeah.
I can't, maybe especially because it's a GSD, but I'm just picturing him mouthing and someone charging you probably a lot of money to give you that because they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I hate that. I don't hate a lot of things. Okay, his head is following me everywhere and the whining is constant until the release command. I try and make sure he's not whining before I release him. Any advice on how to get him in a better state of mind or how to correct for the whining? This is a very common thing, so don't worry.
Are you going to recommend euthanasia for the whining?
Yeah, whining sounds like something that definitely could lead to
Mauling children.
Mauling children, yeah.
Okay, so...
I just want to kill someone.
Sorry. Okay, she's going to go relax a little bit. All right, Patrick, it's just me and you, buddy. So for the whining stuff, basically, I mean, we don't allow any whining. Any of that stuff in place is just a dog, like you're saying, and accurately saying, is uncomfortable and kind of on edge. So I think you said your dog is fully off-leash trained. I'm hoping that means it's on e-collar. So if your dog's in place and you're hearing whining, just say no, tap the button. Find a level your dog cares about enough to prioritize silence over whining. If you don't have an e-collar, but your dog's just off-leash trained and it's just an awesome dog, then you might need to put a leash and prong on your dog and let that leash just hang on while your dog's on place and then do corrections for that. Please stop him.
Junior.
And third time's the charm.
Sorry.
And he's 15. And then another option could be a pet convincer. Gary Wilkes, if you look up Gary Wilkes bonk on YouTube, you'll see examples of bonking, which it's a rolled up towel with rubber bands, and for some whining dogs, it's really awesome. It can look barbaric, but it's basically like Gary calls it, like a pillow fight. It's basically a different way of delivering pressure to a dog that's doing something you don't like. And Gary's actually a clicker trainer, but one of the early clicker trainers who also uses aversive control along with clicker training and positive reinforcement. But he's the king of bonk, and bonk is you say no, and you nail the dog with the rolled up towel. You can throw it at him, and the dogs don't like projectiles, and the dog goes, "Holy crap, what was that?" And then the dog decides they don't want to whine anymore. That's not my first go-to, but when we have dogs that will absolutely not give up whining, bonking is definitely on the menu. Typically, e-collar corrections will get you where you want to go. And you just have to be really consistent and diligent and don't let the dog beat you into submission. And I think once you get the whining gone, I think you'll find that the craning its neck and looking all around and kind of being anxious on edge should dissipate as well. I'd also be looking at any other moments in the house that you could try and challenge your dog that, even though it's trained well, that it might be... you might be able to set it up to not be tuned in, not be focused, to not do its best work, where you can correct and really get the dog to be like on its best giving you his best and minding his P's and Q's, which will hopefully get some of that kind of like tension stuff out as well. And then obviously exercise has got to be that's kind of a no-brainer, and so I don't even always say anything about that because I assume everybody is doing that anyways with the young GSD.
The more duration you do with a dog like this, like it's so common to have GSDs just come in here and like whine while they're in place, and like you just have to correct it. It's kind of a battle of wills. Yeah. You know, it's like the war of attrition, but you'll get a dog that's in here that's like whining 90% of the time, and you correct it, more duration, dog's state of mind gets better. Then the next time, next week it's like at 60%. The next week it's like 30. But you just kind of have to work at it. Don't let it slide. Correct it. You may have to correct it a little bit higher than you would think, but you might, that might be the way to go. And just work.
There's a level out there that will cause your dog to not want to whine.
Yeah, and mark it with a no. Mark it with a no. So.
Yep. Cool. Patrick, okay. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, we have Instagram question 11. This is from Michelle Chavez. Hi, Sean and Laura. I know I asked this question a lot. Has she asked a lot? And
you probably have ignored her.
Sorry, Michelle.
Luckily, Michelle, I came along.
Stop. I would have totally answered this one like privately. Okay. I know I asked this question a lot, but I just want to know how I can have my GSD be more social around other dogs. It's amazing. I want to be able to take her to the dog beach or off-leash trails, but I can't because she always attacks at least one dog when she's off-leash.
That doesn't sound like a good trip to the beach.
Bad, yeah. All right, Michelle, we got you.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get it.
So, Michelle, the thing that I would recommend for anybody, we get a lot of dogs that come in with this stuff, is e-collar training. It's virtually the only way that you can have any influence on turning this into a more positive situation. So, a lot of dogs, especially GSDs, will kind of get themselves into trouble with this stuff. They'll get a little snotty, a little whatever with some dogs. Get your dog, put an e-collar on your dog. Get your dog e-collar conditioned, e-collar trained at least for recall, right? So go buy a mini educator by e-collar technologies. Watch my recall video. I've actually got a couple on there that can really walk you through step by step. Our e-collar DVD is being shot this weekend, so that'll be out soon. But what you want to do is you want to teach your dog that your dog is connected with you even at a distance, right? A lot of things change psychologically for dogs when they realize that the long arm of mom can get me even when I'm 50 yards down the street thinking naughty thoughts about a dog that I want to go rough up. So just having that ability to recall your dog and call them off starts to change a lot. Now, if your dog gets himself into a situation where you see that he's starting to posture and get tense, then you can recall him away, or you can correct if you're starting to see nasty stuff that you don't like. It gives you the ability to correct it, tremendous distances, and then your dog starts to inhibit that behavior because he goes, well, I'm not getting away with this. I go after this dog and like all hell breaks loose and it stinks. Let me make a better choice. So e-collar training, at least do recall, and then you can recall the dog away from problem situations or correct for being a snot and start to cultivate better habits, better choices. And then if you keep up the good work, you can maybe make the dog beach a dream come true.
Yeah.
Canine.
Dream come true. Canine.
Shout out to Blake.
Yay.
All right.
I'm glad we finally helped you out with this one.
Yeah. Thanks for being patient.
I want to see a picture. Okay, question 12, Instagram. This is from Wendy Maestracci. Maestracci. Hello, Sean and Laura. Do you have any tips on what to do when your dog gets attacked while on a walk? I was working my dog at his staring at other dogs while walking, which is pretty mild, when a golden retriever sitting with his owners at a coffee shop charged and latched onto my dog's back. Now, since I was working my dog, I'm 100% certain he wasn't even looking at the dog in question. He was in a heel position, ears back, mouth open, not looking in their direction. He also didn't engage in the fight. He just kind of stood there while the other dog put a couple punctures on his back until the owner pulled him off. What could I have done to handle something like that?
Horrible,
worst.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a terrible story, and I'm so sorry it happened to you. It really is the worst. It's like I always equate, people ask me about what can you do for off-leash dogs, and it's kind of like that drunk driver syndrome. There's only so much you can do because off-leash dogs, they're a bit of an unpredictable ingredient in the dog kind of world, or just it's something that there's no way to absolutely prevent, but we can take some precautions. So what I always recommend to all our clients is to get a pet convincer. You can order them off Amazon. I think they're $30. Now, I know you didn't see this one coming. I think you guys both got blindsided.
Yeah.
But most of the time we see it happening. We see a dog coming towards us. And so here, my go-to is the pet convincer. We walk dogs all the time at the park where there's off-leash dogs, and sometimes they'll come running up, or little snotty ones, and they want to run up and jump into the mouths of dogs that I'm walking that really can be dangerous. So pet convincer, CO2, quick burst of air, pa, will send a lot of dogs, boom, just scattering. 9 out of 10 dogs will take off and run. Now, if the dog isn't, for one, if you can't get that out in time, or you do get it out in time, you spray it about 4 or 5 feet, and the dog continues to close the distance. You put your dog behind you, and it doesn't sound pretty, but you kick that dog as hard as you can. You kick that dog as hard as you can, like right in the chest, and a lot of dogs will back off. The thing is, it can look mean, but what's more mean? Dog fight, multiple vet bills for both dogs. Not to mention your dog losing trust in you, losing trust in other dogs, and everything going down the toilet as far as just confidence levels with your dog. It's just a really, really bad scene. So it's not always perfect. It's not always easy. And you're not always going to be successful, but those are my methods. I would pet convince, I would boot any dog, and then the other part of this pet convincer thing is that, say you didn't get it out in time and the dog closed the distance, just like on this one, and he got your dog and he had your dog from the back and was just holding on, you can spray the pet convincer right in that dog's face, and most dogs are going to release right away because it's so disconcerting. It's something they've never really had before. So not a perfect answer, I wish I could tell you, but pet convincer, and then guard your dog, put the boot out there, and then chew that owner out and let them know, thanks a lot for being irresponsible and putting my dog in harm's way. So I wish I had a perfect answer, but it's I've had a off-leash pittie come running up on us when we've been walking 7 or 8 dogs at one point back at our old place, ran straight across the street at full speed into us, and no doubt it would have been a fight regardless of what the dog's intentions were. I had a lot of dogs with me, and no group of dogs likes to be bum rushed by a dog like that. And as he came up, I had no choice. I didn't have a pet convincer. I had one, but I couldn't get my hands on it because I had too many dogs. And I kicked the dog as hard as I could, and it hurt me like hell. My shin was terrible. But the dog, it stunned the dog, and he took off, and that was it. And it saved a dog fight. So it's not pretty, it's not easy, but that's what I recommend. Sorry about all that.
Let us know how things go, and let us know how it moves forward from here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, question 13. Whipple370. Sorry. Hello, I've been lucky to find you guys. What great stuff you put out here for everyone to see. I recently adopted my second Dobie a month ago. He's 10 months old. My female, who's 15 months old, I've had since September, also adopted and is doing swimmingly thanks to you guys and a local group class we attend.
Awesome.
Great. Question, what is considered acceptable play, and how do you discourage non-acceptable play? They will mouth each other, and the male will grab the female on top of the neck, which always ends in the female showing teeth. Never have I had a serious situation, but I don't want one. I use prongs for both and e-collar for the female only right now. Male has started structured walk, but it's crazy cold up here, and some basics in the house, wait for food, crate, no pony, play outside.
Pony play.
That's a good one, too, how to discourage play in the house. Thank you for my chance to be heard. Greg from New York.
Okay, Greg. Are you taking off?
I just have to...
Okay. So, Greg, let me see. I'm going flying solo here. So, acceptable play. It's a hard one to explain sight unseen, but basically what we're always looking for is reciprocal play, which means that no matter how rough it is, both dogs are enjoying the interaction, right? One dog may be bullying and be rough, but the other dog might even be submissive about it, but actually is enjoying it, and then they turn the tables, and the other one that was being submissive now charges, and they go back and forth, and they have a real kind of game of like pushy and I'm the dominant one, and then I'm pushy and I'm the, not the really dominant, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm cool with reciprocal play like that, and I really let the other dog tell me what is acceptable or not. So you're getting teeth showing, so that looks like the reciprocal play is getting out of hand and to a point where the other dog is not enjoying it. So your female is I guess getting some limits pushed. E-collar is a great way to go about this. I know your male's not on e-collar yet, but once your male gets on e-collar, that'll be a great way for you to just, with low-level stuff, when the energy starts to get too high, just give a quick tap and your dog's going to go, oh man, I got to really mind myself. I got to manage myself. So that's a quick and easy way to go about it once you get your dog e-collar trained. Prior to that, you can leave leash and prong on your dog to drag around. It's kind of hard, dogs can get caught and it can be kind of a messy thing. So that's not a preferred method. The other thing you can do, which most of us that do socialization stuff, is we use a dressage whip. And a dressage whip you can order from like Tractor Supply or a bunch of different spots. And I'd get a nice long dressage whip, and if you're using it at the dog park or something, you probably won't be the most popular guy there. But if you're using it in your own yard, in your own house, it can be a very fantastic tool to de-escalate energy. As your male starts to get a little bit too peaked, a little too intense, a quick tap on the rump will typically just bring the energy right down. Then you can let him play some more, but you're just setting limits. Like, this is how intense it can be. It's not that you can't play. You can't play like this because it makes the female uncomfortable. So I'd say your real preferred methods are going to be e-collar once the male's trained on it, and make sure that he's fully conditioned before you use it around your other dog, just to make sure that there's no misunderstanding about where the pressure is coming from, that it's definitely, he understands the pressure comes from the e-collar and comes from you, and it's not the other dog, so don't start a fight. And until then, in the interim, then I would use the dressage whip. We've got a couple here, and it works, even though it looks like a barbaric thing, it's actually very mild on the dog. I mean, you can give a little, we're not talking about like, whoosh, we're talking about a little pop on the rear, and the dog goes, "Whoo, man, I really got to watch myself." So those would be my suggestions for the play action, and then follow your intuition about just the energy. If it feels like it's uncomfortable, it's just like when kids are playing play wrestling, you can feel it when it starts to get to a point where that headlock on the other kid is just a little bit too hard, and they start to get a little too serious, and next thing you know, the play is turning into something a little more serious with kids. It's the same thing with dogs. So just kind of honor your intuition on when it feels a little bit weird. Don't let them not play and not get themselves into some fun stuff because they're young and they should, but just make sure you're kind of honoring your intuition about what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate. All right? Cool. Thanks, man.
Hey guys, I have to go, so we're going to sign off really quick, and then Sean's...
I'm going to finish answering questions. Laura Morgan's got very important business. She's goal coaching, so if anybody needs to get their lives in order... this lady right here is the one to coach and goal and coach and
goal and coach.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's really fun.
She helps people all around, all around the world actually.
Yeah.
So
let me know
if you need help. thegoodDog.la@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Ask this girl. She gets you all straightened out. All right, she's signing off. I'm going to stay because I'm more dedicated to you guys. I'm going to make sure that you guys get taken care of while she's out gallivanting around, right? Okay, so, and she's going to wrangle dogs for me. So here's what we got. So we got a quick bonus question, and this bonus question is from Lance Weber. And Lance says, how do you control leash pressure with so many dogs? I think Lance is referring to my my photograph for Q&A Saturday with me and that whole big gang of dogs. And that's a good question, Lance. So... typically, if I'm walking say I'm walking 8 to 9, 10 dogs, I'll put them all in one hand. I'll walk them almost all in my left hand, put all the leashes there, and then we'll walk. See if I can demo this now that Laura's gone. I can get the full. I can take over the whole joint here. All the dogs in the left hand relaxed by my side, and then if a dog is pulling out in front of me. Or getting into trouble, I reach over with the right hand and pop the leash, wherever it's at. Pop, pop, right? Like that. Now, in this picture, I've got there's some dogs behind me. I don't even think you can see them all. I think there's 12 or 14 dogs, something like that. So I had them in two hands. So that means I can't do the independent correction stuff, which is awesome to do if you've got a few less. So what I would do in those situations are put my more challenging dogs, make sure their leashes are shorter. And that would mean that I might wind their leash up a little bit. That might mean I put them in a different position in the pack to where it causes their leash to be more tight, that when I go to correct, it's like a marionette, right? So you marionette to make different things move. So if you do a lot of it, you get pretty good at feeling how you can move your arm to actually make one leash activate more than the rest of the leashes, and then you can just get some clever kind of strategies to make that all go down. So for me, either one hand and then with the other hand correct, or two hands and then marionette style and placement within the pack to make sure that you can correct the right dog. I always put my trouble guys, every pack's got a couple trouble guys, so I put them strategically where I can address them the best. And then I'd also use a lot of foot stuff. So being somebody who started off with dog walking, I got very good at creating like an invisible line in front of me with foot stuff if my hands were all busy. So that doesn't mean that I'm booting dogs or anything like that, but you can take your feet, like say I'm going to do a bad impersonation of feet, and let's say, here's a dog, right? I'll do a bad impersonation of a dog. Here's me. You can actually take your foot and you can tap around to the front of the dog's chest like this, and you can actually slow dogs down really nicely like that if your hands are full. And it doesn't even take a lot of pressure. It's just a quick little tap with the back of your heel, and the dog goes, oh, I got to slow down. It just creates a boundary. It's just pressure in the same way, whether it's a choke chain, prong collar, martingale, e-collar, whatever it is, different forms of pressure. So when your hands are tied, you got to be able to address dogs in different ways. So that, Lance, is how I would do those walks and keep that other stuff. And then the other part of it is a little dog trainer mojo. You do it for a long time, and you get a lot of confidence with it, and then the dogs feel that confidence, and they tend to give you a bit of an easier time. They give you a pass once you've set some boundaries and shared consequences for some silly choices. The dogs will kind of bypass things that they might want to get in trouble with and go, nah, I'm going to let that one go. So not bragging, but I did do a lot of dog walking in my early days with really troubled dogs, and so that really helped me develop some skills that were stuff that you don't typically get in just regular dog training stuff. So that is your answer for that. All right, guys. Okay, so this is it. I'm Laura Morgan free. I don't want to say that I feel like an uncaged bird, but I'm enjoying this full screen, no one hindering my pontification. Anyways, no, I miss her, but I got to get by without her. So here we go, guys. Last piece of this. We made it through all the questions, which is pretty awesome. And so we got question of the day. Question of the day is, what's been your best takeaway from Q&A Saturday? What training tip, what concept, what aha moment? We'd really like to hear what's been the most valuable thing for you. It helps inform us about things that we're going to shoot videos for, other training tips and advice and stuff, what people are struggling with, and then what we find really connects with them and helps them to do better. So so that's question of the day. Let's hear what you've gotten the most out of this, what's been the best, and that'd be really good feedback for us to have. And I think that's it, guys. I think we're out of here. So we go to shoot the DVD, this new e-collar DVD, which is a pretty big deal. We got a full, we're talking 3 cameras, sound, multiple shoot sites, lots of dogs, and our goal here is to make the best e-collar DVD that the world has ever seen. One that's so step-by-step and so easy for anybody to take their dog from being not off-leash trained to being fully off-leash trained, and fully understanding how to do it comfortably and maneuver through the whole process all the way up to corrections and being leash free and all that, as well as understanding some of the rehab capabilities of using the e-collar to get a lot of rehab value going on as well. So it's going to be an extension from our first DVD, which is hiding out over here. So it takes over where this one left off, which is the Good Dog, Learn to Train the Good Dog Way, the foundation, which is all leash and prong, and a lot of our philosophy and all of the state of mind work. This is the foundation that we start our board and trains with, and then we go to e-collar after that. So we're really giving you guys exactly what we do in our board and train program, and our goal is that anybody can take these 2 DVDs and fully off-leash train their dogs. Not just like, but like fully off-leash train them to be amazing. And we're working really hard to put all the pieces together. We've been prepping for this for quite some time. And so we're excited to go shoot this, put it all together, and then get it in your hot little hands so people all around who can't get to us, who don't have the money to train with us, or geographically, or they're in a place where e-collars are frowned on, or whatever it is, that you guys can go out and do your work and get your dogs into the space that you want to get them into. So if you haven't got this, this is something really great to have. You can order this right off of our website, www.thegooddog.net. And it's a double DVD, and we put our hearts and souls into making that as valuable as we possibly could. So if you don't own that and you're having problems with your dog, it's a really, really good place to start. And if you do have it, the collar DVD is coming soon, and that will be the next piece of the puzzle. And so we're excited to bring it to you guys. So anyways, thank you so much. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate you guys so much that you show up every week, you ask great questions, and you respond and share your feedback and your victories and your challenges, and we're just so happy to help. So love you guys. Take care, and we will see you soon after the DVD shoot.